In 1819, all of continents on Earth have been already discovered, except one, Antarctica. People knew about this huge piece of ice from the ancient times, but never really tried to colonize it. Seriously, even sailing near Antarctica was a tough challenge, and people still had a lot of unexplored lands in Africa, Asia and America, and that's why no one really cared about Antarctica, except Russians, people with ice and snow in their blood. But before we continue, please put like on that video and subscribe on my channel. Thank you. Antarctica was known from the ancient times. In ancient Greece, scientists assumed that, well, there should be a great piece of land in the southern hemisphere, cause, you know, we've got a huge piece of land on the northern hemisphere, so there should be a balance between those things. Ptolemy made his own map where he showed his hypothetical ideas about great southern lands. Later, since the 16th century, a lot of scientists and cartographers started to draw their own new maps, which were closer to the truth, but still far away from it. Before opening of Panama Canal in 1914, there was only one way to get from Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean – Drake's Passage. Except the southmost point of South America and shore of Antarctica, you can also find here huge waves, a ton of ice, which makes it really tough to cross this passage in winter, and of course, storms. A lot of ships were destroyed trying to cross it, but it was one of the most important trade routes in the world until 1914. Let's be honest, everyone knew that exploring Antarctica isn't gonna be as cool as exploring Northern and Southern America. And the only thing that you will find here is endless amount of ice and penguins. You won't see coconuts or endless amount of gold or sand shores, but many people and scientists still believed that all of that ice was just a fake and shield right before a green and warm land. It reminds me something, you know? But let's get back to 1819. The main goal of Russian expedition was to prove or disapprove existence of the southern continent, somewhere in Russia at that time. I know that there is a huge land on the south. Nah, you don't. I know. You don't. I know that I'll kick your ass. Okay, but what about Antarctica? Shut up. The expedition was headed by Mikhail Lazarev and Fabian Bellinghausen. Both of them were known as the great expeditors and explorers with a huge experience in sailing across the world. Alexander I understood it pretty good, so one day he said, guys, you are going to explore this piece of ice, and you need to do it faster than British explorers, because I don't want to see new tea plantations on this new land. At first, they went from Kronstadt to Brazil. It took 4 months just to reach the starting point. And the funniest part starts from that moment. So they went to the south and opened some new islands right before the Antarctica, and on one of them discovered a lot of penguins. Food is one of the main problems at these latitudes, so it was a great idea to steal penguins' eggs, and along with that 100 penguins, and of course use them as food. Penguins are a good source of protein and fat, that's why everyone in Antarctica likes to eat them. First results of exploring new lands were really successful, but controversial at the same time. Yeah, Russians were the first people who discovered Antarctica in January 1920, but everyone expected to see a new land, but in fact they saw only ice. In report to Russian Sea Minister, Bellinghausen said, "We didn't encounter any signs of the great southern land anywhere. If such land exists, then it must be covered in ice." When their supplies ended up and ships damaged, they decided to ship in Australia and Oceania. But if you think that they just chilled here, nah. They started to open a lot of new islands in Oceania. They met a lot of different aboriginals in New Zealand and Oceania. They even became friends with King of Tahiti. Russians defended him from British oppressors. Explorers received a lot of gifts from King: 4 pigs, coconuts, different types of bananas, breadfruits, and batata. When they arrived back to Australia, they bought and took with them 84 parrots and 1 kangaroo. His fate is still unknown. But imagine having kangaroo on your ship. While they were swimming across the southern hemisphere, they have also discovered a lot of different animals which lives right here. Different types of whales, penguins, seals and birds. Along with that, the whole shore of Antarctica was officially discovered and the whole mystery around this southern continent has just disappeared. Russian expedition which came back home in 1921 confirmed the existence of the new unexplored land. But even after their expedition, no one was really interested in it. At this time all attention was focused on colonization of Asia and Oceania, and later to Africa. Colonialism wasn't reinforced by fact of gaining new land. Everyone were interested in gaining resources and money, and Antarctica wasn't seen as such an opportunity back then. But when people understood the value of Antarctica, it was already too late to colonize it. But discovering of Antarctica wasn't the final place in its exploration. More interesting confrontation will happen later, with the beginning of race to the southern pole. But that's a topic for the next video. Thanks for watching and supporting my videos and my channel.